Hello, fellow students. Today we are going to study Abburi Devi's short story, The Woodrose. Abburi Devi is a noted Telugu writer who espouses feminist causes. She is a Sahitya Academy Award winner and her works has been extensively translated. She had earned a degree in library science from Andhra University. And her first story, Anupati, was published in 1953. And she edited a quarterly Kavita which published English translations of modern Telugu poetry. And also she worked as a librarian at the Indian School of International Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University till her retirement in 1982. And Chaya Devi had been creatively contributing to the feminist cause before feminism and women empowerment became dominant in Indian literature. It has been said that life is a series of short stories for her. The stories challenge the male chauvinistic vision of the world. So, Abburi Devi is a noted Telugu writer, a Sahitya Academy Award winner, and stories challenge the male chauvinistic vision of the world. And today we are going to study her famous short story, The Woodrose. So this is the Woodrose. So the Woodrose is actually a creeper. It's a plant. Woodrose is a plant. It's a creeper. Flowers like rose. Or it looks like rose, but the color of a sandalwood, and the flower will not have a fragrance. This is Woodrose, and this short story published originally in Telugu, and this story tells about the life of an isolated woman who begins to identify herself with a woodrose creeper. So the story actually revolves around the themes of, motherhood, aging, and gender discrimination. So the narrator of the story, the old woman, feels distressed when her uncaring family members chop off the woodrose plant. Okay, this is the story about. So the old woman, she feels unhappy or distressed when her family members, that is her own son, chop off or cut off the woodrose plant. So she is a old woman. So you know the condition of old women in India, that is aged women. What happens to aged women? They, in most of the families, old women or in men, they are isolated or alienated. So they are alienated in old age. That is most common issues that are affecting older women constantly. Older women who are still living with their sons or daughters and grandchildren, they are also suffering from emotional alienation. If you see, most of Indian families, old people, they suffer from emotional alienation. Maybe that might be due to fast changing socio-economic scenario of the country, or fast-paced modern lifestyle and rapid urbanization across the country, and younger generations, maybe the old people's son or grandchildren, they hardly interact with their elderly family members because we live in a busy world. We don't have time to interact with the elderly family members. You might have grandparents at home, and how often you interact with them, how often you listen to their stories. We don't have time, we are busy. So popularity of nuclear family system has also crushed strong traditional bond between grandchildren and grandmothers. I do not know in how many of your houses you have grandparents, because now we prefer only nuclear family. So nuclear family, if you see, that there will not be the bond between the grandchildren and grandparents will be missing. So this is very beautifully expressed in this story. The old woman, she feels insecure and she is not happy in her son's house, and she tries to connect herself with a creeper, with a plant. That's why she feels unhappy or disappointed when her son chops off that Woodrose plant. So here the old woman is compared to this Woodrose plant. Okay. And we are now moving into the story. So now the old woman's name is not given. She is the narrator of the story. And she is living with her son in a house. And you see, joint family system, even which is still alive in rural areas, even there, old women who live in semi-urban situations or industrial townships, they also find it difficult to cope with old age, particularly after their children have grown up and husbands retired or after husbands' death. And also due to lack of social protection, older women are forced to lead a life full of distress, ignored by their own kith and kin, and they do not expect any kind of social security from others. And also with the increased lifespan of older women in old age, their financial needs are emerging as a major concern today. We'll be knowing it. Some families might be rich, some families might be poor. So, since they are poor, some families, they have to sacrifice their needs or other interests to feed for the old. So, this also increases tension in middle class or lower middle class families. And moving into the story, this old woman, as the story begins, she used to sit in her balcony every evening, and her favorite pastime is watching the passers-by, and that has become her habit. She used to sit in the balcony and watch the passers-by. And her daughter-in-law, she looks after everything. She looks after her son, that is the old woman's son, and she used to do majority of the houseworks. So, and when the old woman goes into the kitchen, when she asks her, do I have to do anything? Her daughter-in-law will say, what can you do? You please go and rest, because you are already old. So you need not do anything in the kitchen. You please go and rest. So this old woman, she used to think, when she was young and when she longed for rest and when she wanted rest, she didn't get rest. And now it is rest all the time. She says now, all the time she rests, and she gets tired of it, because all the time she has no work to do and she is resting. So now she says she never thought of old age would be so boring. So to her now, old age is boring. And when she was young, the old woman, when she was young, she used to think that old age would be happy because she can relax in an easy chair and she can play all the time with her grandchildren, like telling them stories, gossiping with neighbors. and nagging everybody in the house and supervising everything. So these are the these are the dreams that she had when she was young, thinking that she could do all these when she become old. But now, when she is old, there's a big difference because she has grown old, and other family members, they started to isolate her, saying that you are old, you cannot do anything now, so you please go and sit in the corner. And even in big cities, they never care for others because already their lifestyle is busy, so they don't have time. They don't even call neighbors, they do not go to visit them, and there is no informal or formal intimacy between neighbors. All these things the old woman missed. And even if visitors come to house in cities, they just force us with a cup of coffee. They give us a cup of coffee and see us off so. This is what happens in cities, isn't it? So she just now sits in the balcony and she watches the passers-by. And one fine day, her daughter-in-law, she brought a plant, and the old woman asked her, what is it? And she said, this is a creeper. And she asked her, what is the name of the plant? Her daughter-in-law said, this is called Woodrose. What is the name of the plant? The name of the plant is Woodrose. And the old woman said, I had never heard the name. And here people, because she is from a village, and she said, people here, they used to call, we know only ordinary plants, and they used to call chamandi flowers. Or, she wants to know, she is curious about the plant and the flower. And she asked her daughter-in-law, what do the flowers look like? Okay, what is the color of the flower of the plant, and what do the flowers look like? And her daughter-in-law said, same shall be made. Her daughter-in-law said, they do not have any fragrance, but they are long, bill-shaped yellow flowers, she said. Okay, so what are woodrose? Woodrose are long, bill-shaped yellow flowers, and they have no fragrance, and the flowers bloom like rose, but the color of the sandalwood. So, this is a creeper, this is woodrose. And she said they have no fragrance, but they are very beautiful look at, isn't it? You can look at this flower, they are very beautiful, and they won't fade if we keep them in a vase. This is what her daughter-in-law said. They won't fade. Other ordinary flowers, they will fade. But the specialty of this woodrose is, they will not fade even if you put them in a vase. The old woman said it is something strange. She has not seen such flowers. And she said, instead of planting this woodrose, you could plant some other sweet-smelling flowers, so that you can, keep or you can plait it with your hair. And those flowers, the sweet-smelling flowers, are a nice gift to give women visitors also. And why do you want to plant this flower? She asked. And the reason is, they won't fade. This is what her daughter-in-law said. They won't fade, and we can put them in a vase. So I stop here. Meet you in next class.